I'm Katie from Creative Crafting by Katie. This is my first time going live, so bear with me, please. I hopefully will be able to pull off a project duplicating something that I had seen at Big Lots. And I'm going to be using some paint sticks and some shims to make my barn door, along with some jumbo paints, craft sticks. And I have already traced out the J and the Y for the joy, and I'm going to make my own embellishment, I believe, make my own wreath with embellishments out of this, because I think once I paint these red, it's not going to look right. You'll see it as it all goes through. And I'm going to use the tin for a little bit of texture and make it look like it's metal across it. So let me get started by painting my paint sticks and shims. Everything's going to be painted red. And I'm reversing these since they do have a little different thickness as they go. Reversing them back and forth across so it helps with making it look a little bit more equal. And I do like the way this has holes in it. It looks more natural to me, and being that we're having it as a barn door, I figured it helps make it look more weathered. Okay, so I'm going to be using, this is Darice acrylic paint, and it's called Holiday Red. That's what I'm going to be using for the barn doors itself. Hopefully this will not take more than one coat, but it kind of looks like it might. Let me know if you're joining me today. I would hope that I have somebody out there. Let me know where you're from, and I will see if I can get my comments up here, so I hopefully can engage with you. If you have any questions while we go along, please ask. And if I miss any comments, I will go back and read the comments after the live and answer any questions that I missed. This is a little time consuming, but should go fairly quick. Being that this is my first time on live, let you know a little bit about myself. I am from Michigan, and I have grown up here my entire life, worked for a family business, and I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And on these paint sticks, I know there is a ruler part to it. To me, it doesn't matter. It's more character. It's up to you. If you don't like that, just flip it over to the reverse side, and then you won't see that ruler. A lot of times it's just hidden anyways. Some of it's going to get cut off on those rulers anyways, because I don't need the whole piece. But until I figure out where I want to cut it, I'm just going to paint the whole piece. I guess I'm not able to see my comments, so I'm not going to be able to interact with you guys. But if you want to pass this video along to one of your friends and see if maybe we can get them to jump on board with us, I would appreciate that. I guess in the crafting world, they don't say the S-H-A-R-E. It's not permitted by Facebook, so they use the word sprinkle in reference to passing it along to other people. So I guess if you'd like to sprinkle this to any of your friends, then I'd appreciate it. You can also turn on your notifications on Facebook, and then anytime any posts come on or I go live, then you would know that. And that's just something you can do by clicking, I believe it's like 3 buttons, 3 dots on the top. And you can turn your notification settings on there. I'm going to have my daughter read me the comments that have come over so I can try to engage with you guys a little bit. First time, so sorry I'm not able to get that to come up.
Okay.
Any comments?
Yeah, you have one. How did you get into crafting?
I started crafting with my sister years and years ago when I was a stay-at-home mom. And we had started a gift basket business, and we started crafting. I was in my mid-20s. I don't know. I just have this passion for design and interior decorating and stuff, and I think it just kind of goes hand in hand with it. And so I guess with our gift basket business, we were doing craft shows and stuff to get that out there, and we added crafts to it at the time, and so I became real passionate about that. And over the years, my desire for decorating has increased so much that this is just one way I can inspire. I love to change things out in my house, so instead of always buying it, I can make it myself. Make it my color scheme and whatever it is that I want.
We have somebody who wasn't here for the beginning. They don't know what you're making and want to know what you're making.
I am making a barn door with the words joy across it. And that's why all these sticks are being painted red. Will be a red barn door. And these are just shims that I'm using to make that red barn door with. And I am alternating them since they taper down to a smaller end on one side. I'm alternating them to help between the thickness difference on each side. So I place one way and the thicker end on the other side, on the other one. Sorry this is taking so long, but it is part of crafting, painting. Also, if you are just popping on here, I am using not just the shims, but I'm using some jumbo sticks that I got these jumbo sticks from Walmart, the craft sticks, or popsicle sticks, and then I'm also using paint sticks as my crossbar between the levels. I probably will just go with the one coat on this. I will probably use some antique wax or brown paint to weather this so it's not so bright and help tone that red down a little bit. So I'll probably just go with the one coat because I do kind of like the way the different layers will pop through. Having some of that natural color can make things just look more old and weathered. Got some pretty red hands here. Probably should have used some gloves, but that's okay. Doesn't bother me.
How big will this be, and can it be hung on a front door?
It definitely can be hung on a front door. I do not have measurements for it. I can, after the live, measure and post that for you if you'd like. Just let me know in the comments if you'd like me to post that. measurement for you. You could definitely put it on a front door, and you could definitely hang it on a wall. You could even put it like on a mantle sitting if you don't want to hang it, or depending on what kind of shelf size that you have, you might be able to just like lean it against the wall. Hopefully you guys can't hear my son talking up there. His room is right above me. I'm in the basement. And he's 21, so need I say more? I hope you guys enjoy what I make. Hopefully it'll inspire you to make something in for your own home. It's quite inexpensive. These shims are not a lot of money. I'm not sure how many come in a pack. I want to say 10 or so. I mean, it's not expensive. And the paint sticks are $1, and you get like 5, I believe, in that size. I just get them from Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever I'm at the time, if I need to pick any up. It's just a real good and inexpensive way to make yourself like a board without having to cut anything major. You can just make yourself the background for a hanger. But this, I think, works out well as for barn doors, because it's already a little bit rustic and weathered looking, just the shims itself with the different sizes and stuff that are like the imperfection with the holes. I mean, what barn door doesn't have a hole in it, or a chunk out of the corner or something like that? We're getting there. Douse it with some paint. It's time consuming, more so that you have to do all these edges and sides than it is just the surface. So got to make sure. I don't know what will show through, so I just want to touch up a little bit of it and get some red there. I don't want too much of it to be natural looking. Haven't painted the barn doors in a while. That's what we're going to go for, that look. Again, this is my first time on a live, so I'm hoping that whoever's out there watching will pass this or sprinkle this along to their friends that they have on Facebook and Instagram. And I do have on Facebook a few DIY videos that I've already done, and you can take a look at those. I'm trying to go back and forth between fall and Christmas, Thanksgiving type decorations, being that we're not quite there. It's still just getting started. It's a short season, but a little bit harder to come up with things for Thanksgiving and fall. Christmas is an endless amount of ideas in my head. I can literally be up at night thinking about crafts and what I want to make. It's kind of sad. But I guess that's what happens when you're passionate about something. Or you can't sleep and you say, should I go downstairs and craft? And I guess the only thing holding me back is today's nice weather here in Michigan. We're in the 70s, but it has been a little bit chilly, and going into a basement, it's cold. Get on my warm bed with my couple dogs that are there, keeping me nice and toasty. Makes me decide I'll just wait till tomorrow. So this is my last. I have one more last shim and one more jumbo popsicle stick to do. And then we'll dry this with, I just have a hair dryer. Some people use heat guns to help speed up the drying process. Okay, one more. These jumbo sticks are going to be on a barn. You know, you have the crisscross sections. That's what I'm going to use these for, is my crisscross sections. Okay. Okay, let me get my hair dryer out on this and see how it turns out. See how I need, see how, if I need to do another coat or not. Sorry for the noise. Drying like it needs another coat, but I think I'm just going to leave it be and see how it looks. Because I want to put the antique wax on there to help it look more weathered. I think once I get that on there, you won't see as much of it, of the natural wood showing through. Plus it helps show the natural grain of the wood. If I put too much red on there, I might lose that look, which I don't want to lose, the look of the wood grain. This process is almost done. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a minute and just continue to dry. And I'm going to move on to, let me get some of this red off, because I'm going to go to white next, and I don't want to mix the color on there, any red on there. I am going to just use some cardboard that I had traced some letters on, and I'm going to cut those out and paint them white. It's really hard to find letters and sayings and things like that a lot of times at the stores. I find that everything sells out so quickly. Like, fall was sold out in August. It's really hard to come by this stuff, and I thought, well, I can just make my own letter, trace it out, and use a piece of cardboard. So just find different ways to compromise if you don't have something in your house, and it'll turn out just as cute. And cardboard is cheap. Usually you get it free in your package of Amazon that you got. So utilize it and save yourself a little bit of money while you're at it. And I have this area here that's a little bit tight. I think I might try to use my knife instead. Then my scissors, I don't know if I'll get a good cut in there. Hopefully I don't cut my finger. Let's see here. All right. I guess I have to go back in there with my scissors anyways. So if you're just jumping on, I'm making a red barn door here when I'm going to put the word joy across it, and I'm cutting out some cardboard letters right now with the J and the Y, and I'm going to use a circle piece of garland to make a wreath for my O. Clean up my edges here for a second, and then move on to my J. Yeah, I use a cardboard a lot of times to put my paint on instead of using a paper plate. I also use these little filters for coffee. I don't drink coffee. I found them at work, and nobody at work drinks coffee, so I was like, I'll take those home and use them to craft with. Get in here for a second and clean it up. I have an X-Acto knife, but I'm not sure what I did with it. So there you have it. I'm just going to paint the Y and the J white. And I'm going to use Americana Decor chalk paint. I just wanted to use the chalk paint to make sure that I got good coverage, being that this is such a dark background on here. I didn't want to have that showing through. I definitely want to get good coverage on this. Definitely want it to show white. So let me get that going. This will definitely need more than one coat. Just using one of these foam brushes. I get these on Amazon in bulk. They're really inexpensive. And I wash them out, believe it or not. They clean up really well. I honestly hardly ever throw them out after usage. Just toss them in some water, and when I get a chance, days later even, I'll clean my brushes. They're sitting in that water, they're fine. Use a little bit of Dawn soap on them, and they come out well. I think I throw them more away when I have to use them for decoupage and stuff like that with the Mod Podge. I find that they're a little bit harder to come clean. If you don't get them in water right away, then they won't come clean very well. Let me dry these up. Dry my working surface a little bit. I see some of the red starting to transfer over to my white J, so I'm going to get this cleaned up a bit. This red is struggling on a few of these pieces. Doesn't want to dry very well.
Did you make that tree behind you?
Yes, I did make that tree. Just this past week. I will show you that after I get this white paint on here. I will have a DIY video on how that was made. That one was time consuming, so I didn't want to go. I was going to go live with that first as my first live, but I didn't want to. I did not want to do that as my live because it is time consuming, and I'll explain to you what I'm talking about. I think I might even need a third coat on that. Let's see how that dries, and I'll show you the Christmas tree real quick. This is just a piece of Dollar Tree cutout, that preform cutouts. This is a canvas from the Dollar Tree. It came in a 2-pack. So what I did was I took the canvas off the back, cut it down to size. This Merry Christmas paper, if you can see it in the background, is just a piece of tissue paper that I got in a pack from the Dollar Tree. It was several different types of Christmas tissue paper, and I just stained it all brown, and then I went over it with a white brush, dry brush, to get the distress look. The same with the beads that I put on here. I get all my beads from Amazon in bulk. They're about a 10 millimeter bead. And then the embellishments on the Christmas tree are actually molds that I hot glue that I put into molds that I have. Let them dry, painted them, took them out, painted them up, stained them brown, and then went over them with the white dry brush again. And then this was just a star that I had gotten from a pack of different things from the Dollar Tree, and so I threw some snow down there. But it's super cute, and I loved it. I just hot glued the glue on. You'll see it all. Check that video out, coming soon. I'll have that up on Facebook and Instagram in the next couple days, so you can take a look at that. And really quick, just let me get this J and wire again. If you don't have your paint completely dry when you go to put on another coat, it's just going to make it pull away. So it's important that things are dry when you move on to your next step. Being that I can't see my comments, I don't know who's out there, but I do appreciate the support of anybody that is watching or sprinkling this along to anybody that you know. That's how we build up our business, is helping each other out. I still have this red here. It does not want to give. Okay, let me do my third and hopefully final coat on this white.
How long have you been crafting?
I've been crafting since my mid to late 20s. I love it. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, so I was able to do that more. But since I've been back to work full-time for about 18, 19 years, it's been a little bit harder to do. So I'm just getting back into it. My kids are grown up and in college right now, so they can take care of themselves. And I love it. I love to decorate. Like I had said before, I love to interior decorate, and so this kind of ties into it, so it helps me think and create my own home decor, which I can do cheaper than buying a lot of this stuff. That picture that I just showed you of that tree, if you were to find something like that at Kirkland's or Hobby Lobby, you'd probably pay $20, $25 for it. So I made that tree for probably $3, $4. So it just goes to show you what you can do. Let me get my antique wax. and help distress this a little bit. I'm just gonna take some and put it on a, oops, that went a little fast, a little runnier consistency. So I'm gonna put some on a baby wipe, and I'm just going to come in here where I want the distressed look to be and apply. If you get too much on, turn your baby wipe over to a clean area, and then you can wipe it off. Concentrate on maybe some of the areas that you missed with the red paint or seem a little thin. Go back into those areas. This helps tone down the red paint a lot because it is a Christmas red and it's bright. These shims are a little bit harder to work with when you're doing something like this with a baby wipe, is it tends to want to pull, being that your shims are rough. And I don't sand them before I use it for something like this because I want that look. A barn is old. This is an old barn. So, like most of them are, I want to make sure that it looks old and distressed. If you can see the difference here between the two, just by adding that antique wax on there, how much it really tones down that and really makes this look old and rustic. It's been around 150 years. Let's go with that. The older, the better. Looks like that will be good on the J and the Y. I did 3 coats of that. Chalk paint allows you better coverage, and that's the reason I went with that as opposed to an acrylic paint. It won't cover over as well, so. Another time-consuming process, but the majority of this project is a paint project. You know, some other projects might not be as much painting involved. But unfortunately, because I'm trying to make the barn door myself, we are going to wind up with pretty much a painting project. These are the pieces here that are the paint sticks I will use for the little crossbar of the door. And the popsicle sticks, the jumbo ones, I will use as the X that you always see, the traditional X that you see across any of the doors of a barn. So now, being that I only did the 1 coat, it really doesn't matter because you're not seeing, see the difference here? You're not seeing that coming through so much. So just adds more character and another layer of color to it by having left that red paint a little bit more translucent or see-through. Just not there. All right. That's a little bright there from my fingers. So this is decent. I probably could have left a couple of these plain because I am going to cover over them with the tin, but that's okay because it's not going to hurt anything. Get rid of that for now. It's messy. And another baby wipe. I buy these in bulk. Necessary for the project. so we don't have any bleed through of colors to a part of the project you don't want that color. Okay, let me hit this real quick with the dryer, and we are going to start assembling the door itself. We want to make sure that it is good and dry so that when we go to put the glue on it, it will adhere. Would act as if it was water, then the glue would not want to adhere to the project. And we do not want our project to fall apart. I like to use things like this. I like the way it looks. It turns out it makes it look just rustic, and I like the imperfections of stuff. I guess that's all part of making your own crafts at home. It's not manufactured looking, it's real. And real is what I'm all about. Mistakes happen, and that's okay. So now we are going to start assembling the door itself. Let me just check my sticks and make sure that I have them going in the right direction, because as I said before, the shims start out thicker here and come down thin and taper. So I'm going to reverse them, thick on one side, thin on the next, and go that route all the way down to the end here. And two of these are actually going to be a second piece that I put on here. So being that this is a thin end, I'm going to add a thick end on that side, and the same on this, thick and thin together. So basically what we're going to be doing in these top and bottom ones, I'm going to place the tin. So I will be cutting these, and I will have one here in the middle along with my popsicle sticks here for the X. Okay, so that's what we're going to wind up with here in just a minute. So let me start gluing my pieces down. And again, I like these holes in the look of imperfection. That's what I think a barn door is all about. The infamous running out of a glue stick. So get yourself a decent amount on there. And I'm just starting off with these two right now. Going to flip every one of these over, and I'm going to grab myself I actually should have done this first. Wouldn't be my first live without a mess up, would it? I'm going to take this apart because I have to. Is that the right side? Yeah. I have to glue this project together. And the way I will do that is by taking plain jumbo popsicle sticks here across the board and securing them. And that's how the project will hold together these pieces. And it's going to be off a little bit here and there because these shims are not like 100% the same size. And because of the way that they taper, we'll have to do several of them because you are only going to get this one, this one, this one, and this one to adhere to this piece because these are thinner. So as we go along, we will be able to get everything to adhere to each other. So we'll use several of these, but that's okay. They're cheap anyways. That's why we use this kind of thing. Now at this point, we're starting to be able to get more of them to adhere to this popsicle stick. But because they're light enough, it won't slide down or anything. The top will hold the bottom and the bottom will hold the top, so we won't have any problems with this sticking together. And I'm just making sure I skip these areas where the holes are so that my glue doesn't seep through, and that way we can definitely, we don't want to see a stick coming out the back area there. Okay. All right, let that be like that, and now you see this board is held together just by using the popsicle sticks. And as a barn door is, you can see through it. Okay, let me go back to this process of gluing these onto the side. Let me see if I got my big daddy glue gun here. This one I don't always use because it's much hotter than my small glue gun. But I love it because it's cordless. My daughter bought me this. My sweet daughter bought me that because she knew I needed it. She knows what her crafting mom needs. A big glue gun. Okay, next one. Now that we're done with all that painting, this process will go much faster. And one more mistake. Oh boy. That's what you get with the Mac Daddy glue gun. I had done it wrong where the thin part was together. And so I guess I need to slow down and think it through. Sometimes that's how it goes. You make a mistake and then you continue to make mistakes because you're thinking about the last mistake you made. You don't want to mess up again, and then you do it. You do it anyway. But thank goodness it wasn't glued down to where I could not remove it. This is just giving it a little bit of depth so that it's a little bit higher than the rest of the board. Okay, I'm going to put these in next. And let me measure how I want them to go, where I want the crisscross part to go. So I get my spacing down right. Okay, that looks decent. All right, let me get this down on the board. Okay. And cross it here. Looks good. So if you're just joining, I am making a barn door. I started out with some shims. Got to get a little more glue underneath here because of the difference in the shims. It's a little bit shorter right there, so it didn't want to stick. Hopefully that'll solve the problem. And then just clean up your glue real quick while it's hot. So anyways, I am making a barn door. I use shims for the majority of the base there. And I'm using popsicle sticks, the jumbo ones I got at Walmart. Painted everything a holiday red and antiqued it over with antique wax to make them look rustic and old. So right now I'm just gluing the X on here, the infamous X that you see on all these barn doors. And once I finish with that, I'm going to put the crossbars, the support bars of the door here and at the top and bottom. The top and bottom I am going to cover over with a tin tray that I got at the Dollar Tree. They come in a 2-pack, and I love them. At Halloween, I love to use them in the background for like scary faces and stuff. Just to have it kind of pop out of the face. It looks cool. It just shows different. I'm gonna mark this on the back side and attempt to cut it with my snips. Right here. Here they are. Hopefully they will cut through this. Oops, sorry. That's my daughter. It just went after. She's tough. She can handle it. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit more, but let me see if I can use these other Mac Daddy scissors here. Take cover, Adriana. Okay, I'm actually going to touch this up a little bit here with the red and some of the antique color. I'm gonna grab this back because that has what I need. Okay, so I'm going to hot glue this here in the middle. We're just about done, folks. Not too much longer. And that looks good for spacing. All these little spider things that come off. Give a little more glue down here and see if we can get that to stick. Again, the shims are different sizes, and I reversed them on each side in order for them to not all be thick on one side and thin on the other. So that's why this one doesn't want to adhere to this board, being that this one's thick, that's thin, and so on. It's just giving it, being a little bit more difficult. So we are going to have those there. Let me mark these up here real quick on the back side and get them cut. And then I'm going to add the tin to it before I put those on. And when you work with the tin, be really careful, because when you hot glue it on, I'm gonna have to use my snips first. When you hot glue it on, if you touch it with your finger, the metal, the tin is extremely hot. So just be careful and know that you can't hold your finger down for a long time. Let's see, how does that look? Okay, last one. Again, we're almost done with this, so bear with me. We have a hanger to put on here. I was just going to put a beaded hanger. And I was going to do the beads in white because I figure we have enough red going on as it is. So let me touch up the end, and then I'm going to put the tin on it, on both of these. You might not see it anyways because of the tin, but just in case, because I really wasn't planning on wrapping the tin around it. Just gonna go over to the edge. Okay. All right. One more. Okay, let me take this tin, move that away for a minute. And I'm just going to rough cut it right now. This is sharp, believe it or not. Be careful when cutting. I'm just going to go up along enough to cover the two. And I can trim it up once I get it glued down to the sticks. Did I make it long enough? Ooh, yes. Just made it. Okay. So, I'm actually going to hot glue them down. I'm going to use my low temp glue. Because like I said, that tin is so hot when you touch it. I'm going to go like this, and that way I don't have to touch the tin at all. Get me another glue stick. A little trick, if you put some glue right here, it helps hold them together so that you're not like this. Trying to keep your glue in. And get that one down. And then I'll just come in here and trim it up. Again, be careful, this stuff is sharp. The reason I painted these is because you will see your edges, and in case anything cuts too short on the tin, then you wouldn't see the natural wood coming through. It would just show red, which would blend in with the rest of the project. And then this is an inspiration. I had seen a version of this at Big Lots, and I was like, I can make that, no problem. And I honestly don't know how much it was, but Big Lots is a little bit more expensive than some of the other places on their already made crafts. I bet you it was every bit of $17 to $20 for this sign. And right now, I couldn't have much more than a couple dollars into it right now. With what I've done, it'll be more than that at the end of the project because of the beads and stuff that I'm going to add to it. But let me get rid of some of my Mac Daddy tools.
So what were you making just there?
This I'm making the top to the top and the bottom of the barn door. In the inspirational piece that I had seen, they had metal at the top and bottom of the door. So I thought it looked cute too. It helps spice it up a little bit. So let me get these on. And I'm going to go just right about at the top and bottom of the edge of each of them. I'm going to glue this on, and then and I just need it on the edge here. Get you out of there. I'm going to actually probably put a little bit of that antique wax on this. The tin is awfully bright, in my opinion, so I think I'm going to tone it down a little bit by adding a little bit of that antique wax to it. This will get hidden simply by putting this over the top, so you'll never know that doesn't really hold, isn't adhered to that very well at the bottom. Truth be told, I had a Y and a J. Can't find the J. Bought it at Michael's on clearance last week, and I don't know what I did with the J. I have the O and I have the Y, but I don't know what I did with the J. So here we are making a cardboard one. That's what I mean when I say compromise. Use what you have at home. And I'm just going to rub this on here with a baby wipe again. I'm just trying to make it dull it a little bit so it's not so bright. You can see the difference right here. This wouldn't look right. This barn door looks too old and rustic, so if you didn't do that to it, it would just look out of place. And so I'm going to antique it a little bit here. I love these tins. Like I said, I use them all the time at Halloween. It just add a little more to that. Just looked like it needed it. Okay, so there we have that. So far, I'm going to dry that real quick on the tin. in here. Let's see. A little bit more. Darken it up around the edges. Because that's where mostly, this is where your rust is going to start. I'm trying to make it look like they're rusting to help go with the theme of the old door. Okay. And that helps show a little bit more weathered around the edges. And I'm going to get this on. And I'm just using this as my inspiration. I don't know, let me know what you think. Do you like that? Or do you think it's too matchy-matchy with the red? Because I was going to do this. And put some pine cones on it. And I do have a little sprig of berries that I can do. Anyone have an opinion on that? What do you think, my daughter? You like the berries or you like the green?
Can I see the first option again?
Yes, you may. You like that? Or do you like this with some pine cones and berries?
Try making it with the pine cones and berries. I think that'll look
Okay. I think because
good.
because these are rustic looking letters, which I'm actually going to get these letters hot glued on. And I'm just going to center them in the X. And same with the J. Okay. And then, and this is just a piece of garland that I cut off of, and I'm just going to secure it by wrapping it around each other. And put myself on some pine cones. This is where using your hot temp glue gun would not help you. You want these things to be able to dry quickly, so you have to. I got one more. Sorry this is taking so long. It's all the painting. Painting. Takes forever. Whether it's a craft or a project in your house, painting takes forever. So I'm just going to cut these into smaller pieces and glue them on around the area of the pine cone. That burns really bad. It got me good. Okay, I'm gonna get a better piece. I don't like the way those look. These just came from the Dollar Tree, just little sprigs. And you can just get so much out of it. by just cutting it all up like that. Okay, that's what we've got so far, and I'm going to glue that down as my O in the middle of my project. Good choice, Adriana. Good choice. All right, let me bring it closer to me so I can see. Get some hot glue there, get it centered, and just hold it down. And then my last thing is a quick bead. You know, I think I'm going to leave the beads natural. I was going to stain them. But I think I like it this way. One other thing I'm seeing on my project right now is the popsicle sticks on the back over here seem to be peeking through. So I'm going to take my scissors and cut that so you can't see it. Let's see how many you've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always do an even number of beads so that way when it's hanging on the wall it can rest in the middle of something and you have an even amount of beads on each side. We're going to use all 10 beads. You could do red if you wanted. You could do white. I was going to do white, but I kind of like the natural look. And now it's being difficult not wanting to go through. There we go. Okay. Let me tie off the ends so the beads can't go floating around. And then I'm just going to hot glue this hanger on and trim up those popsicle sticks off the back. This way the beads really don't have much, nowhere really to go. And my side pieces that I cut here, I need a little touch up. If you see what I'm talking about here, you can see the edge of my project. I don't really know if you see it straight on. Just a little bit over here. So I'm going to just trim those up real quick before I glue my hanger on. Take cover again, daughter, just in case it comes flying at you. It's amazing how far these things can go. Ugh. Maybe these smaller ones will get in there easier. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. Let me flip it over here and space out my hanger. I don't like to leave a lot of space. I like to go right up to where the edge of the bead is. Get my little handy dandy makeup thingy. I don't even know what you do with it, but it helps save your fingers. I have some of those little finger savers, but I don't know. I don't have them out right now. I sure could use it because I definitely burned my finger today. Cut off the excess here. And one last thing I will do is take a piece of a popsicle stick, and when you hot glue it down, hold it over. Just another way to secure it down and keep it from coming up, and save your fingers while you're doing it. All right, this is the last step to this project. Let me show you what we've come up with. So, just to recap, this is a barn door. I had an inspiration from Big Lots, and I used shims, paint, which was holiday red, carried that over with some antique wax. Got my J and my Y that I just traced out of cardboard. Made myself the O with some Guerlain. Used some tin for my top and bottom of my doors, and put a bead hanger on it. I really appreciate anybody that tuned in today. Anybody that would love to share pass this along. SHARE is not permitted on this channel. I guess you have to say sprinkle. So if you would sprinkle this video along to your friends and help me out with gaining my following, I would really appreciate it. This is Creative Crafting by Katie. Please follow in Facebook and Instagram, like my page, follow my page. You can also get notifications as well when I'm live or when I've posted something on my page. I would appreciate it. I hope this inspires you guys to do something, even if it's not this project. Take a look at something that you see out and about, and make it yourself. Thanks for tuning in.